My friends, a very warm welcome to your September update, an exclusive bonus feature of being a premium subscriber or Patreon member. And thank you for all your support, because it really does help me to continue making these videos. It helps me to increase the frequency of the videos, and also allows me to make bigger productions, and I'm going to talk about some of those in the coming minutes. I just wanted to let you know what I've been doing over the last 4 weeks or so. Been fairly busy. I'm due to renew my restricted instrument rating in November. I haven't done any instrument flying at all this year, owing to the fact that the aircraft was out of service for much of the winter, and also because it's difficult flying instrument flight from Redhill. There's no procedure there, so it's something that I need to keep in practice with. You know that I'm a firm believer in the belief that you have to use it for it to become useful when you really need it. And I think instrument flying is one of those things that you really do need to keep on top of. Just a month, in fact, and your skills can slip. So I took a training flight with one of the instructors based at Redhill, Jan Levart, who is a commercial pilot. He flies all around the world commercially. He trains at Cub Air Flight School, which is where our aircraft is hangared, in fact, at Redhill. And we took off from Redhill. There was a bit of IMC around, although we had to get up quite high to get into that. We practiced quite a lot of things. So we did an instrument approach into Southend Airport. It was a low approach and go around. We didn't land. That went fairly well, apart from the fact that kind of overshot on the hold, but nothing too disastrous, in fact, and perfectly acceptable, I'd say. Did an ILS, which worked quite well, and then I asked Jan to show me some limited panel and to test me on limited panel. That's where your perhaps gyro instruments, your vacuum instruments fail. So in the event of a vacuum pump failure on the PA-28, there's only one on board, I would lose my direction indicator and my attitude indicator. So I'm relying on the other instruments, the electrical instruments and the pressure instruments, to keep me flying straight and level, which is quite complicated. You're having to use the compass, which has got difficulties in terms of reading the compass. It lags as you turn, so there are two methods you have to use to get yourself on heading. I found that quite hard, actually, if I'm honest with you. I found that quite hard to do.
Charlie Delta, Roger, Squawk 7000.
That's better.
Okay. Have a good day.
Now we're going to do a left turn, heading south, please.
So we're heading north.
127.773.
So it's going to be 60 seconds.
Yep, that's it.
So I'll go left.
Left is clear.
Started.
Uniform 3000, please. Go Juliet Uniform, Roger.
After we'd done some limited panel work, we did some upset recovery type stuff, unusual attitudes. So this might occur when you are perhaps looking at a chart. You maybe you start a turn, you don't realise that because your body doesn't register that, and you look up, or you hear the engine roaring, and you're suddenly in a steep spiral dive, and you have to recover from that on instruments only. And the alternative would be a nose up, nose high attitude, where you're sort of approaching the stall, and you've got to recover from that as well. And they're quite difficult to do, actually, and probably is the worst part of the instrument test, the renewal test that I have to do. So I've got to decide whether I'm going to take that test fairly soon, or whether I delay it until I really need to take it. It's due to expire in the middle of November, but the problem with November is obviously the weather gets a bit poorer, doesn't it? And it's not so easy to get those flying days, or to pick those days and for them to be flyable. So that's the first thing that I wanted to talk to you about. I took a day trip over to Le Touquet. I decided I wasn't going to film this. I just wanted to have a lovely day out with my son and his friend and his father. And Le Touquet is very easy to get to, very quick. You've got the benefit of getting the tax back on the fuel that you take out with you as well, so it makes the flight quite affordable. And we had a lovely day out. It was brilliant weather and perfect flying, and the two boys really enjoyed it, so that's great. I wanted to tell you about a production that I think you will know that I've been working on for some time, and that's the series that I've been filming on radio telephony and aerodrome procedures in the UK. We have some differences here in the UK from other parts of the world in the way that we do things, and I know this was an area that I found particularly difficult to learn when I was learning to fly, is the differences between all the different aerodromes, and it took a while for me to grasp all of that and the different types of radio calls, the different rules at each aerodrome. So I decided I was going to set upon a series about that, and I've never really wanted my channel to be an instructional piece of work, because I'm not an instructor, and therefore it puts me in a difficult position if I'm starting to instruct on my channel. But I thought this was an area where I could share my experiences, give you some examples of the radio telephony that are commonly used at these types of aerodromes, and maybe give you a bit of insight. So I don't see this as an instructional video perhaps, but perhaps, you know, just some examples of the types of flying that you might do at UK aerodromes. And we decided that we'd pick an air-to-ground aerodrome, an aerodrome with flight information, a aerodrome flight information service officer, an aerodrome with full ATC, and also an aerodrome in controlled airspace with radar. And it's taken me a little while to film this. These set-piece productions take a long time, in fact, both to film and to edit and to plan. It's not like you get in my plane, I set up my GoPros and off I go flying, like I would, sorry, somebody just emailed me, like I would for my usual videos, and they take a lot more work, in fact. So when people ask me to make films about certain things, I need to think carefully about whether I'm going to jump into it. But this is one that I decided I was going to do, and with your help, with the money that I raised through your support, I was able to put on these productions. One of them you'll know I filmed at Wolverhampton Halfpenny Green back in the spring, summer of this year. And in fact that was the spring, wasn't it? And I had 2 film crew with me, and we did a great production. That's been sitting in the can for quite some time. I went up to Earl's Cone Aerodrome this last month and filmed there with Carolyn, the air-to-ground radio operator, and we had a great day there, and that's made a great video. That is edited and done now, you'll be pleased to know. I've edited the Wolverhampton Halfpenny Green AFIS video. I have also filmed at Redhill Air Traffic Control. I did that this month as well, and that is ready to be edited. I will be working on that in the next week or so. And then at the beginning of October, Southend Aerodrome has invited me along to go and meet them, see their radar rooms, see their procedures, and I'll fly into Southend, which is very GA friendly, in fact, believe it or not, even though it's a very busy controlled airspace aerodrome. And we'll show you how the procedures work there and how they differ. So it's all about showing you the differences between each of these types of aerodrome. You wouldn't believe it, would you? If you don't fly, you'd think every aerodrome is the same, from a grass strip up to a full air traffic control. But actually it's very, very different. So that's what's coming up, and I hope to get those released in October for you. I'm still working on the final couple of episodes of the Flying in France series. So we've got a flight back from Le Mans to Deval, which I'm working on today and hope to have finished today or maybe early next week. Then we've got the flight from Deval back to Redhill, which was probably the harder of all the flights that we've done, bizarrely, because we're entering British airspace and everything gets a bit more complicated and restricted. I've got a flight in the can, which is a flight over to Texel in the Netherlands, which I'm sure you know about. And that was a great flight, a great day out too, so I'm looking forward to working on that. But essentially a lot in the can. And before I go, here's a little preview, a bit of a funny moment. When I was filming the air traffic control series, or the sort of the aerodrome procedure and radio telephony series at Wolverhampton Halfpenny Green, I was sitting in John Parker's TB10 and aware that I was trying to give this accurate demonstration of the types of radio calls you make, and I completely fluffed it up. Have a listen, have a look at this. Halfpenny Green information, Golf Bravo Hotel Delta X-ray, parked on the grass to the west. I mess up my first attempt at the initial call because I get John's call sign wrong. I'm trying to do an instructional video about how to use the radio and I get the wrong call sign. It's not a good start, is it?
You're going to edit that out, aren't you?
And then I only go and do it again, The green information, Golf Bravo Hotel Delta X-ray TV 10 on the grass to the west of the tower, requests aerodrome information and taxi, VFR flight to Tatton Hill.
Got it wrong again, John.
Golf Bravo Hotel Delta.
Now, in my defence to that, and in fact that wasn't the only time I messed up, there was a third occasion I got the call sign wrong. In my defence, the headset I was using when I transmitted on the button to speak to the Pfizer operator, I couldn't hear anything in my headset, so my headset went silent, which was very off-putting, and that's my defence for making that mistake. But it's a good video. It's coming out in early October. Well, I hope this has been useful. I hope these videos and these exclusive bonus features are interesting for you, and you continue to support me. It really, really does help. If you know anybody else that you think would like to sign up or might benefit from this, please do let them know. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll be back with another monthly update in October.